Hey there, guys. Welcome back. Thanks so much for being here. Hope everybody's doing well and staying narcissist free today. Well, guys, I'm going to talk about the different tactics that these severe malignant narcissists use and other narcissists to hoover you back. Now, we know hoovers are never good, they only turn into pain. I haven't heard of any hoover that ended well. If you have, put it in the comments, but I haven't. It's the narcissist's way of pulling you back in. Now, what is a hoover? You know, for you Brits out there, you know the hoover's the vacuum, right? In the States here, we call it a vacuum cleaner. But Hoover's the company, right? So Hoover is a vacuum. It sucks you up and spits you back out like dirt, right? That's the whole point of calling it a Hoover. That's exactly what the narcissist does when they hoover you back. They suck you back into the relationship just to spit you out again. It's never a good experience, so you have to avoid these hoovers at all costs. They will pull on your heartstrings, they will try different stunts, and it's all to have you respond. You know, if you respond to them, you're giving them supply. What happens when you give them supply? They get energized, they get energy, and it just fuels them to abuse you more. They get a high from it. So they will try anything to pull you back in, to abuse you again. That's how they get energized. That's how they do better on their jobs. It's very, very sick, but it gives them a thrill. You know, they're sadomasochistic like that. They just love, the cat and mouse game, and they love dominating once that they pull the person back in with the cat and mouse game. They love dominating and hurting that person. So it's very sick, evil behavior, and that's why we know they're not of God. They're just ruled by the adversary. The narcissist doesn't care what you've gone through. They want what they want, and they really don't care if it affects your health or your finances or your well-being. So hoovers are never, ever good to respond to. You really have to gray rock, go no contact, and resist them at all costs, which is hard. You know, the stronghold, the trauma bond is strong with this demonic spell from hell. Watch my video, The Spell from Hell, guys, that they cast on you. It feels different than other relationships. The temptation is far greater to keep in contact with these evil types. And the reason is Satan's force is strong. They want to pull you back in so you can't fulfill God's calling, so you can't put God first in your life. You know, you're going to be so distracted by what the narcissist is doing and the narcissistic abusive relationship that you can't spend time with God. You can't fulfill your calling. And the adversary knows that. So he's going to keep trying. And you really have to put your armor on, guys, and resist these attempts to hoover you back. Now let's go over these tactics. Okay, these are the tactics you should know about. They're very common. You might recognize them now when you hear them. One is the cowardly tactic of hoovering. And what is that? Well, that's when they use a third party to contact you. A relative calls you, oh, so-and-so was asking about you. Or somebody at work says, somebody called and left me a message to give you. You know, they're too cowardly to fess up to what they've done and genuinely change their ways. They're not capable of that. So they will try to hoover you back through somebody else by proxy to test your temperature, check your temperature to see if you're warm enough and miss them enough to respond or to accept that call if, they want to see if they have a chance if they call. So they'll use a third person, somebody to give you a message, somebody to tell you, oh yeah, I saw the narcissist out with somebody else. Sometimes they'll plant themselves somewhere else where your friends go, so they give you the message. They want you to think about them by a third party mentioning them to you or asking about you for them. So it's a very cowardly tactic, but they use it all the time. It's just to see where you're at and if you're open to responding. Another tactic they use to hoover is the sentimental hoover. That's where I'm sure you guys have gotten these. You get the text message, oh, I'm thinking of you, miss you, or I just drove by this restaurant and had fond memories. Something to trigger your sentimental memories of the narcissist. They know you're an empath. They know you have a big heart. They know you're a feeling, caring person. And they know you love them. They know you cared about them. So they will send these sentimental hoovers to you talking about, oh, today's the day we met 5 years ago, or whatever. It's some sentimental thing to make you think that you're on their mind all the time. You're usually not. They only do this if they want a dinner date, if their other form of supply dumped them, if they're sitting around with nobody because, they've been so abusive, nobody wants to be with them. They'll keep recycling their exes. They'll recycle forms of supply. They have to get attention somehow. They cannot be alone. I'm sure you know. They find it very hard to be alone. So they will just auto dial people, on cue. This one's not available. Let me call the next one. But these are their tactics. If they send one person that's thinking of you, they probably send it to 10 other people that night, just trying to fill the void in their life. That's how they are. They don't really care who it is. I used to think, oh, they care. But after a while, you realize they don't care. They just don't want to be alone, or they will need a dinner date, or somebody canceled on them. It's very sobering when you come to that reality. But that is, unfortunately, the reality of these types. They don't care. They're just fulfilling a need that they have to not be alone. So that's the sentimental Hoover. Now there's the crisis Hoover, guys. You guys must have had a crisis Hoover. If you have, put it in the comments below. Crisis Hoover is just what it sounds like. There's a crisis. All of a sudden you get a text message. I'm in the hospital. Or my dog died. Whatever it is that happened. It could be true. A lot of times it's lies. You never know with a narcissist because they lie so much. You don't know what is the truth and what isn't. It's hard because you feel like, are they just crying wolf, or is this real? But you have to remember, how many crises did you have where they were really right there for you and actually cared? Many times, they don't care. They just do what they want when you're having a crisis. Or if you're sick, they're not exactly great with their bedside manner and hugging you, telling you it's all going to be all right. They're not really good in those situations. They just want to patch you up so you can serve them and give them supply again. They get very irritated when the target is sick, and God forbid in the hospital. They wouldn't know what to do. So if you're getting a crisis text, they'll say that their dog died, or they're in the emergency room, or they got into an accident. It could be a very big crisis. But at the same time, if they've done this a few times, you get to see, like, okay, I'm not falling for this again. A lot of times it's exaggerated. It's not as big as they make it sound. They could be at the doctor's for a checkup, regular well visit, and they'll say, I'm at the hospital. And, they'll take a picture, but it's a well visit with the doctor, and they just kind of they blow it up to get sympathy, to see if you're going to respond. So they'll create these crisis situations because they know you're an empath. They know you have a big heart, and they know that works with you. That if they really were in the emergency room, you would be there. Empaths are loyal, caring people. They give the shirt off their back. They take care of people. But we have to take care of ourselves too. It's not that you can't care if they're having an emergency, but really think about it and really ask yourself, how many times have they done this? Is this real? A lot of times you'll find out it's not real. I personally had a text message from a severe narcissist years ago. I went no contact, and they were extremely abusive. And I received several Hoovers that were just awful, saying awful things, trying to shock me, insulting me, hoping I'd get enraged and text them back. They'll try everything. And then finally, they resorted to a picture of themselves in the emergency room with an arm cast on, wearing a smock with IVs in their arm. And it looked real, but, could have been a 5-year-old picture. I don't know. It was apparently real, but ends up they just fell down a few stairs and hurt their arm. But of course, they sent me that picture, like I'm supposed to respond and run to the hospital and feel sorry for them, etc. And we do. We feel like, oh, that's terrible. We're right there for people. But at the same time, we have to remember, this person caused a lot of harm. And this person was never there when we were in the emergency room. Where were they? They were at a party or on vacation. They really didn't care if we had catastrophic situations or crisis in our life at all. And it's not that you do an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. at all. We're still supposed to forgive and be there for people, but we also have to protect ourselves and not be foolish and not allow ourselves to be pulled into an abusive relationship again. And that's the way they do it, guys. So if their intent was not to pull us back and abuse us, and if they didn't abuse us before, yes, we would be right there. So we can, love them, we can forgive them, we can wish them well, but we have to understand when we're in danger. And a lot of times accepting those types of Hoovers and responding opens up a can of worms and puts us in danger again. So everybody's situation is different. Your discernment will tell you, and pray to the Holy Spirit for this, to give you discernment to know what to do in those situations. We are to help other people, but at the same time, we don't want to hurt ourselves in the process, guys, okay? Also, there's a false concern Hoover, and the false concern Hoover is when they, Hoover you a text or message saying, "Oh, are you okay?" And you're like, "I heard you were sick. Please call me. I'm worried about you." Again, it's one of those frantic, false flags where they try to use this sense of concern for you, that they heard some kind of story about you that you need to straighten out. You're not sick, and you feel compelled to call them and tell them that. But you have to remember that's why they're using that tactic, so you call them back. All of these are designed so you contact them again, and you break your no contact. And you all know what happens when you break no contact, guys. You have to start all over again, guys. Now, another Hoover tactic from these narcissists, an object Hoover, right? I always said that they'll say, "Did I leave something in your car?" So you feel compelled, like, I guess I got to look for it. Or you write them back, "No, I don't have that item," but you're still responding, They know it's going to get some kind of response. Usually, "No, I don't have that item." And usually the item they're asking for is made up. They're just saying they lost something when they didn't. It's a way that it'll get your attention. They do this all the time. They will say, "I have your sweater. You left it in the car, I guess. I found it, or I found this in the house. Can I return it to you?" And you're thinking, "What sweater? Was it expensive? I don't know." And so you want your item back if it's yours, but really think about it. Is it worth it? Is it worth pulling yourself back to be abused again? Because that's what's going to happen. Usually there's no sweater, or it's somebody else's, which will infuriate you even more. Like, whose is this? It's not mine. And they know that. So they'll either show you someone else's sweater, knowing it's going to infuriate you, and you'll wonder whose it is. It's not yours. Or, there's nothing. "Oh, I thought it was. It's not. It was my daughter's. False alarm." But you're there. You already accepted the Hoover, and they know it. So they change their story. They make up these things just to get you to respond again. They just want to see if you're going to take the bait. The accidental Hoover, guys, here's another tactic. The accidental Hoover is where, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I call you? Oh, I'm sorry, it must have been a butt call. How are you?" And, then they try to talk to you because it was a butt call or an accident call. Or the big one is, they'll send a romantic text, and it's about meeting at a restaurant for what was planned with you. And you're thinking, "That wasn't me. Who was it?" And then they'll write, "Oh, I'm sorry, that was meant for someone else." Now, come on. That's going to upset you. You're going to be like, "Who are they seeing? Who is this meant for?" They want to get that jealous response for you. That's why they send those texts, guys. It's a way so, again, you get infuriated and you call them back like, "Oh, who are you seeing?" "Well, it's not my text. I didn't make plans with you. So who's this person you're seeing," right? That's what they want. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just ignore it. It's done intentionally. It wasn't an accident text. They want to see if they can still make you jealous and get that narcissistic supply. They don't care whether it's positive supply or negative. They just need supply and attention, guys. Now, here's another one. I thought this was really interesting. The proclamation Hoover. Now, what's a proclamation Hoover? That's when they have some great epiphany that they're going to change, that they talk to their therapist and they've realized their mistakes. And from this moment on, They've realized that they can't do XYZ to you, and give them another chance. Let's meet and talk about it. It's some big epiphany in their life that they've realized that you're the person for them, and they'll do anything to start the relationship again. And you know they've had 100 times to do that in the past, and each time their epiphany was not an epiphany. They were still the same narcissists they always were. So really ask yourself, are you going to fall for those things again? Are you going to put yourself in that situation that's embarrassing and humiliating and allowing them to have the upper hand to abuse you again, knowing, oh, she fell for it again or he fell for it again? Don't do it. Really ask yourself, when they try these Hoover tactics, how many times have they tried this? How many times did it fail? Was it fake? Probably all of the times they tried them, right? So don't put your hand on the stove again. Always know that this is what they do. This is how they try to keep contact with you. The accidental text or email. Oh, I'm sorry, it was meant for somebody else. The sentimental one. Oh, today is that special day we met years ago, or I was just eating at the restaurant where we had our first date, thinking of you. That's the sentimental one. The crisis one. I'm in the emergency room, or I just was in an accident, or my dog died, something to get your heartstrings pulled. The object Hoover that we said, I have your sweater, you left it in the car. Why don't we meet and have dinner and I can give you your sweater, right? They do stuff like that. There's the false concern. Are you okay? I heard that you were really sick. When they didn't hear anything, they're just trying to see if you responded, and you're not sick. So you feel compelled to call them and tell them that. They know you're not sick. You don't have to call and verify it. Flip one. I forgot this one. This one was the flip Hoover. They'll find an excuse saying that they thought that you called them. It was an unknown number, and they thought it was you. Something like that. Don't fall for it. That's another tactic they use that I forgot about. And remember, the other one was the proclamation one, where they have this big epiphany that they found the Lord, or they're going to change, or their ways are changed. But if you check back, they've probably had a lot of those, and nothing changed. So you really can't keep allowing them that, burn me once, burn me twice. But they know it works, so they'll try it again. But it's up to you to realize how many times they said that, and it was a lie. Nothing changed about them. Also, the cowardly one, remember, the third-party one, or, the Hoover by proxy, okay? They'll send a person into your work, or, a relative to contact you or mention, or they'll be with a date and happen to be in your sister's neighborhood, so your sister sees them or something. You know what I mean? It's hoovering by proxy. And then the other one was the backhanded one, where they, how are you? Like they act like they're so concerned in a email or a phone message or something. So anyway, guys, remember those Hoover tactics, all right? And stay strong. Stay no contact. It's always when you break the contact and you fall for these tactics, which are quite common, I'm sure you know. And if you have experienced any of these, put in the comments below. Love to hear your take, whether these have been common Hoover tactics from your narcissist. They usually are. And then, after a while, they get tired. They get tired of repeating the same false tactics. It doesn't work anymore. It's like, been there, done that 10 times. Burn me once, burn me twice. Not falling for it again. Sorry, pal. After they get that message, hopefully they slither away and they realize that you're onto them. They know you're onto them from the start when you went no contact. That's why they're mad and they want you back to punish you. They want to Hoover you back to punish you, guys. So that's the reason. It's not for any other reason. If they wanted to change, they had plenty of time to change. But they're really mad that you discovered that they're a narcissist and you're protecting yourself and that you've exposed them. So it's very dangerous to accept Hoovers, guys. It really is. It just upsets you because usually they hurt you worse during that Hoover. They'll say something, do something, put you in a position that's a setup, one of those demonic setups that would be very hurtful. So if you are on your road to recovery, and if you have I guess, separated yourself from the abuse. Bravo, bravo, bravo. You are a warrior, and the Lord will provide. Believe me, the Lord provides, the Lord protects, and the Lord educates during your downtime. He wants you to spend time with Him during this time. And then He uses you. After you've been through the trials, after you've spent alone time with the Lord, after you've been humbled time and time again, that's when the Lord raises you up and He uses you for His divine purpose. So anyway, guys, God bless. Hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you follow on Facebook, X, Quora, and Rumble. And if you want one-on-one Christian guidance, please email me at AngelHavenMinistry@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you on how to do that. Thanks so much, guys, for listening. Love you all. God bless.